everyone. Welcome to our session today. Today, we are having the 11th episode of Top PM Voices, and we have Dr. Bart Jaworski today with us. I'm so happy for today's session because it's about AI, obviously. Our topic today is Rethinking AI in Product Management, discovering the true value beyond the hype. So we will be discussing what AI actually means for product managers and what AI product manager means. And then as a generalist product manager, how can you integrate AI into your product and what you should be careful about and what kind of future upcomings that you should be following. Let me walk you through the platform quickly before I give the stage to Bart for introduce himself. So first of all, please let us know you. Drop a message in the public chat. Many of you already found it. Let us know your title and where you're joining from. I'm Ala. I'm joining from Istanbul, and I'm a junior marketing manager here at AirFocus. During the event, I will be asking questions to Bart to understand his approach to AI in product management. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, just drop them into the public chat. And I have my colleague Nuran, who is helping me moderate the event, and she will help us collect all the questions, and then we will be asking them to Bart at the end of my questions. So, hello, Bart. Welcome again. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Bart. Hopefully, some of you already know me. I am a normal, friendly product manager working in different companies, but I also do a lot of teaching and knowledge sharing on LinkedIn primarily. And I think I have some opinions and observations about AI that I'd like to share with you all with help of Allah.
Thank you for introducing yourself. And I think he is being humble because we were just talking about how he has a lot of followers on LinkedIn. And it's just, like all the insights that you're providing to the product management community. So I'm really happy to have you here. So let me see. We are 3 minutes in and we have a lot of people already tuned in. So I think we can get started with the first question. Okay, so my first question is, let me bring it on the stage. Yes, what AI means for us PMs, actually. I think this is where we should begin.
Well, it's a bit of a paradox because it's not what you think it is. For normal, regular PM working in your classical B2B or B2C company, AI is just a tool, just another solution on the table that we can use, and we could have used it for a very long time. It's nothing really changed. AI is a solution to a problem that we can have, but it's not the only solution. And the AI, as it stands now, was elevated to a bit of a hype it is driven by the biggest companies that want to capitalize on that. But I think that the mask and the charade is slowly coming off, and we are in a situation similar to 3D TV, NFTs. It's not that bad. We won't reject it. It's an awesome tool, even before the LLMs. And it can do things that, were dreamt in the 80s, but couldn't be done until now, until we had the right hardware and the right computing power. But at the same time, we sort of fooled ourselves into thinking that we have found a universal tool to any product challenge, and it's really not the case. We need to be humble. We need to follow the product process and not do things because we can, but we have to do things because they will work out. And this is what the data and what our discovery process shows.
We were like 1 year ago, we were talking about how is AI transforming product management. And now we're talking about how actually we can discover the true value beyond this. So let me then bring up the next question. Before bring it in, I would like to bring this is your definition from maybe you are also watching Bart on YouTube. He has great insights there, and this is one of the videos. So he is defining AI product manager as a subject level expert who uses backlog to guide a dedicated team to build best possible AI-based services solutions. And with this description, actually, that brings me on my second question, which is how does the AI product manager role differ from that of a generalist product manager?
So just to say, the definition just saw was built like before the LLM hype. So it's quite an old video by now. It's amazing for me because I can picture myself recording it like it was yesterday, but it was like maybe 2-3 years ago now. God. So the differences between generalist AI and an AI PM, it's mostly about the knowledge you have to gather, the ability to move in an AI space and guide your team into an optimal solution. The classical AI PM, the one that I talk about in the video and the definition you saw, is both a product manager and a tech team leader. And classically, that would be, for example, a PhD, a doctor that graduated or had research into AI and created something of his or her own, and then used that knowledge to, for example, improve the conversion rates of any like e-commerce business, or find some solution in a big problem space that would otherwise be very hard to find in a classical mathematical way. Now, I would say that AI PMs and generalist PMs came a bit closer together because very many of us are forced into prioritizing solution over problems. So we are often told just to create an AI some solution so the company can swim on the AI name, AI keyword. So it's about the tech team, development team, and the PM to find something that makes sense in the product, is feasible, is doable, makes sense, and it's getting harder and harder to actually do it, especially now that after, what is now, 1.5 years, 2 years after ChatGPT was released, when we are seeing clearly the limitations and what we can do and we can't do, and how the general public really reacts. As I recall, the BBC did a poll in the UK and found that only 3% of people in the United Kingdom actually use a large language model every day, despite it being available on so many platforms, being free and having different alternatives from Google, from obviously OpenAI, Microsoft's version, Claude AI. So that tells us that maybe when we are on LinkedIn, when you are here, when we are in the tech world, we might live in a bubble where we believe that the AI is the next best thing, that we have to have it because otherwise we'll be left behind. We feel FOMO. But maybe it's not what our clients really expect. It's like having a sticker that something is the 2YK problem proof, like, what was it, 24 years ago now, on the things that absolutely made no sense, like on monitors, on keyboards, mouses. I was a kid back then, but I still found it hilarious knowing that this is just a marketing ploy built on fear in order to sell more products. And I think that there is a similar mechanism in play here. Don't get me wrong, as I said, again, I think it's a great tool. It gives us new possibilities that were not there before and can even replace humans in some actual narrow circumstances at the moment. But it's not what we believed it was when we first started talking to ChatGPT and having this movie Her experience.
It was really like that. And with what you said, we will talk about more about how we can actually understand if our product is um, suitable for AI and everything. But before I move on to the next question, I want to ask to our audience if any of the product managers that we have in the audience are actually thinking about becoming an AI product manager. And you drop your answer in the chat box, and meanwhile, I'll bring the third question on the stage. And it is, do you believe every product manager needs to become proficient in AI technologies, or is specialization as an AI product manager necessary in today's tech-driven landscape?
Nah. Oh, sorry. This is for me or this is for the audience because I
This is
zoned out.
for you. Meanwhile, our
Okay.
audience drop their answer if they want to be an AI product manager in the chat box.
Okay, so I think that no, you don't need to suddenly become an AI expert, be able to build your own models or collect specific data in order to provide some solution. You need to educate yourself on the process, on how to introduce an AI feature into the product, what it entails, what's the cost of it. You need to work with developers who are able to work with that to create. So it boils down to being the regular PM that understands tech in a way that he or she can communicate about it. Just like about the development process, about version control, about databases, release process, lots of stuff that falls down under the tech world, but is closely related to execution of any sprint or any feature, and thus is semi-required for you to understand and be knowledgeable enough to be able to be that product leader, to iterate what you need and understand the feedback. If something is not possible, hard, it will take long or will be costly, because then you have to dumb it down for the people who can help with the challenge. So it's not like everyone has to suddenly have a PhDs in AI. Not at all.
We have many answers in the chat. Let me bring some of them on the stage. I saw Richard's message on there, and he's saying product manager that adds AI to their toolbox and incorporates into solutions where appropriate. That would be like hyping their product manager work already. Let me see if there is anything different that I could bring onto the stage. Yes, we see many of product managers would like to specialize on AI, but most of them are also agreeing that they can be proficient in AI as a product manager. Okay, we will be talking about the expertise that need you to, like, you can be proficient in AI as a product manager. And that will bring us to the fourth question, which is what specific expertise is required for an AI product manager, or let's say now a product manager who wants to specialize in AI, and how can one acquire this knowledge?
So let's, before I get to this question, I would like to address something you said before when looking at the chat. There's this quote I really like that says that it's not like the AI will replace the PMs, but PMs proficient in AI will replace the PMs that are not. And I think that that this is very correct, but this also encapsulates not only like incorporating AI into your product, but actually using it day to day, being able to use AI UI generators to have more ideas and have better discovery space, using say, midjourney to create images that you can use commercially and enhance your blog posts or whatever communication. It's also about helping using Claude or ChatGPT to do some research, to check something. I mean, in my personal experience, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it hallucinates very quickly when given very specific tasks. Even like high-level product queries that I do for research are often mixed up with something that makes a little sense, but you would never hear it from a human being that understands the deep context. So the subject level knowledge about product management in the current version of large language module is not all that great.
Mm-hmm.
So what specific expertise is required for AI PM and how can one acquire it? Oh, jolly. So let's start with like the AI, the classical PM, the one that I say that has a PhD. That's basically about learning Python and learning any coding language that allows you to build your data set, that allows you to then do procedures connected with learning, reinforced learning, and just tweaking the model to work. So you basically have to become an AI coder first before you become AI PM. So when you are the AI coder, you build it on top, or you build it connected to your product knowledge. So not only do you know how to introduce AI feature, you know what AI features to introduce and whether you need AI for those in the first place. And when it comes to that AI product manager that's a generalist first or seeing a path to adding AI features, there's actually this course from product faculty that I'm in close relations with that I also took, where the OpenAI expert guides you through the process of introducing AI features, what you need to look at, what's important, what are the possible issues you might encounter. So this is like the place where I would suggest you go. You can watch my feed and post. There should be an announcement of the new cohort soon with a special discount that I'll be offering. So that is like that is a plug only because I took the course. I know it's helpful, and I know it's helpful because it basically did everything that I encountered when we were introducing AI feature into the current product. So I could see that if you have not gone through that path, that course tells you what to expect and will let you understand what you're going up against and then be a better AI product manager for that particular track. And again, this is for the, let's say, modern AI PM, which basically means a generalist PM who's working with an AI feature and it's a new tech. Not a new tech, but it's newly popular tech. And there are caveats that are worth to know, and those caveats will make you exceptional PM in comparison to someone who learns as the development goes along.
I will definitely find that post that you mentioned and make sure that we follow up, we include it in our follow-up email so everyone can get an access to it. I think, do we have anything in the chat box that we can include in this discussion? There are like many messages, but let's get to them at the end of the session with the questions. And I think with this question, we now move forward to how we can actually adapt our product into AI. So this makes our fifth question, and it's how do you determine if AI is a good fit for a particular product? What factors should be considered? Because before you move on, sorry, I'm sure many of in our audience are they have AI into their products, or at least they are considering it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So let's see actually how we can see if it's a good fit for our product.
Well, that is an excellent question, and the answer is very simple. You just do what you did when there was no AI on the table. You do your discovery, you do your feasibility, value effort estimation, prioritize it against anything else what you have in the backlog, and you work with it as with any other feature. Because as I started here, AI is just one of the tools. You may as well consider some API provider to get you, and that API provider. If some you can consider some functionality that's hidden behind the API, not AI. You probably can do both, like when you just connect with the OpenAI's API. You can build the AI, deploy it locally rather than work it from a cloud. But those are like the details that you need to work out with your development team. The most important thing is to having your vision, strategy of the product, knowing your goals, knowing what you want to achieve. And if you filter out hype and FOMO, you are left with just another tool that you can use, something that was maybe not possible previously, like an automated expert that will guide you through some functionality, maybe a better support agent, or like LinkedIn does, where I don't think it makes sense, and that's counterproductive in my opinion, but for the sake of it, I will bring it up that you can ask AI to generate a post or a reply for you. I mean, okay, maybe it's saving time, but are we really building social networks to use it to have our AI assistants do the social networking for us? I mean, that's nothing I would accept as a feature proposal. And this is, I think, a clear example where should we do it was not heard as much as we can do. Let's do it because we can. So to reiterate, just follow your regular process, your regular principle, and don't get into the hype. You are a product manager, you're looking for the best value that you can provide to your users. And if the modern AI enables it, use it. If you don't need it to provide that value, don't feel forced into it like many companies have.
Thank you for your answer. I hope that also answers some of the questions in our audience's mind. Um, okay, that is like maybe you also already answered, give some answers for this question, but then what are the key considerations product managers should keep in mind when integrating AI?
First of all, I would say that you need to make sure that AI can handle it. I mean, hallucinating is a big problem, and you don't want to have an AI that will work in 40, 60, maybe even 70% of the cases, just to have an absolute blunder on the rest of the situations. Just very easily, you can recall the recent Google AI summary of the result that suggested you add glue to your pizza to make it more stretchy. And there was one more. Oh, and there was a great question about how many rocks should you eat every day. And the AI suggested that you should have at least a few pebbles every day to recover your mineral intake, which was obviously taken from like some Reddit thread, which was a joke, but written in a very like serious tone, being signed as a university study. It was hilarious when you looked at it. The tone at which AI told you about eating rocks was like talking to a 4-year-old that was very sure he's giving great advice. And No. Okay, that was like a very edge case where uh, Google had been asked something that was never asked before, and it's understandable it happened. But with all eyes on AI products, you can't afford such blunders because it jeopardizes all the great effort you are doing with AI. So you need to make sure that whatever you release is really up to the standards you want to incorporate in your product. Of course, you can do it in a way that if you know that there's like a certain percentage of errors and faults, you can build expectations with the right copy in the product. But aside from that, the thing that's super important is cost. Uh, any AI query is basically at least 10 times more expensive than a Google search. And you don't want a situation where you suddenly find yourself under financially just because people liked your AI product and started using it to so much that it generated so much queries to OpenAI that you are going bankrupt. And this is a big risk here. Similar like when you have a poorly managed AWS server that can quickly spin out of control if you're DDoSed. Another thing is how much time do you want to spend on it? You may be on a tight deadline that you really want to get something out and you rush the work, or you can agree that whatever you do with AI is actually more of a research project, something that you can afford to take your time and see if it will work the way you wanted it and release it to the product. Also, you can see if the model that is widely available is enough and works well, or do you want to invest in AI development experts to build your own model, your own AI cloud, and have it privately so that you are you have more control over what's the output and what was taught to the artificial intelligence. And speaking of privacy, it's also a big concern because whatever you send to the API, unless I think that now there is a setting that makes it so the AI doesn't take the questions to teach itself. But if you do, you don't want to send client data or private data to AI to be left in the big sea of data added to the model, just so that it doesn't like suddenly appear somewhere to someone's answer and by accident share some very crucial information. Or like, I mean, privacy and security is at utmost importance, and if you can't ensure it, you probably shouldn't risk releasing an AI feature, regardless of how common and innovative it is. We also need to make sure that what we do with AI is sound on a legal level. I mean, there's a lot of new class action cases being thrown at AI companies for using private and copyrighted material, from books to YouTube videos to stuff that should never have been there, but it was scraped off the web anyway. So if you used AI that was trained on forbidden private material and you utilize it, you are suddenly part of the problem, really, and you don't know if the legal thing is put that you are responsible, or the OpenAI or the AI provider is responsible. Are you both responsible for using copyrighted material? Maybe that's solved, and I'm just not following the legal track of this technology. But as far as I can tell, the governments of the world, and especially the European Union, are on it. Like they are concerned. Few countries closed access to OpenAI, just fearing the implication of what it means if they are using non things that shouldn't be learned on, uh, which basically means that you need to have the big picture and imagine the situations where you will put your company at risk just because you introduce a cool AI writer that is not too legally sound. I started talking about governments and lost track. I just want to say that it took so many years for the governments to notice the problem with loot boxes in games and see it as gambling and started doing something about it. However, we are 2 years into the large language model boom,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of legislation going around and being discussed, which means that it's quite pressing, especially that AI is not some weird technology like crypto that's not understood by the old politicians. We all saw AI movies, we read the books, and we know what it can potentially do to humanity. I mean, I don't think ChatGPT will try to take over nukes and start a World War III. That's not what it does. But still, the eyebrows have risen all around the world, and if that means that the legislation changes and limits AI a lot or takes you in the spotlight of responsibility for whatever it produces, that's something to consider before you go into the AI feature into your product.
Thank you for your answer. I see our audience are also agreeing with you on the chat. Cyril says also because of GDPR, important point in European Union, obviously. And huge risk they're saying. So I am happy that there's an alignment there. And then this takes us to the seventh question. Okay, we are talking about what are the risks and how we can make sure actually we can integrate it. We should integrate it, but some of the products out there were successful integrating AI, right? So can you think of any examples of how can AI drive innovation within products and how can product managers leverage AI to create new opportunities?
I think that the best use case of using AI that I saw so far has to do with images. And I love those AI image generators within, say, Photoshop, where you just circle around an area and tell it to add something to the picture. And this is actually doing what is promised in the AI revolution. It's speeding up the work. It's not replacing human, it's making him or her more effective. And I use midjourney a lot with my posts, and sometimes to do a funny picture I have tons of photoshops of my son as a superhero or a captain, just because I managed to catch him in a funny position, and then I could just create a nice background for him or her. Sorry, for him. Oh, that was silly of me. But it's not like taking jobs, because I would never hire an illustrator or a graphic designer to do those things that I now do with Midjourney. So it's sort of democratizing, creating quickly creating images of all sorts for people. So yeah, that's something that I will really do it for me. And funny enough, they also, I think, added generative image AI to Microsoft Paint. The simple basic Paint can now generate any image you need. So that's quite hilarious, actually. I also really like how easily you can now access AI image upscalers on the web. There are free providers that I can, for example, take an old meme that I use for my post and upscale it so from a very old, blurry, pixely picture, it becomes a sharp new image that better resonates with the message that the meme wanted to provide in the first place. But when I look at this question, I actually say to myself that it's hard to drive innovation with AI as it is now because it's not able to generate anything new per se. It's just remixing stuff that was already there. That's also the problem, that you can't really get new ideas from AI. You just have versions of existing ones that are combining maybe 10, 20, 30, 50 other solutions, but it's still not innovation really. And as I mentioned, some of the tech that we are using now is actually 30 years old, but we didn't have the hardware to use it. So can you call a better support agent, AI support agent that communicates better innovation? Perhaps. I mean, of course, innovation in the product world is anything that helps you stand out, makes you cheaper, quicker, more exclusive, less exclusive. But I can't see AI creating new type of products yet. We see the chatgpt being incorporated, like I mentioned, on LinkedIn and in many places where you write text in order to speed things up and get some initial template early so you can tweak it and have something written for you rapidly. But very often it's nonsense. It doesn't have the right tone. It's
too generic away.
Too generic, yeah, or superficial, or not, or hallucinating stuff that shouldn't be there. I recall that there's like this generative AI advocate, a lawyer that you can use for research. But unfortunately, you have to be very careful because in 30 or 40% of cases, it generates fake suits and refers to documents and the cases that were never there. It's because how large language models work. You ask it for a text, it doesn't understand the context, but it's almost magically generating the text you needed to generate, whether it's true or false or factually correct. That's not in the scope of that technology.
We need to work on the output when we work with AI. Thank you for your answer. And that takes us to the next question. Okay, then how can smaller companies effectively utilize AI to add value to their products and user?
Just like any other company. I mean, the OpenAI API is open. Anyone can use it regardless of the size. And if there is a use case, if there's any idea where AI will unlock a functionality that will help to solve the problem the small company is solving, just do it. If you can afford it, if you do your prep work, if you know you can afford it, you did all that I said in one of the previous questions. Yeah, it's really all about like making things that make sense rather than doing stuff for AI's sake. I mean, AI is not anything that will speak to your clients really. It's just a tool, and that's how your regular non-tech world Joe will see it. We don't care for AI for the AI's sake. We care for our families, for our lives, for our health, and for the problems we come to products to be solved. How are they solved? People usually don't care as long as they can afford it and as long as their privacy is kept and is being respected, I think.
Thank you, Bart. And okay, so we have last two questions that will take us to the Q&A session. So anyone who has questions, you can put them in the chat box. So the ninth question is, looking ahead, what do you see as the future of AI in product management? What trends should product managers be aware of?
I think that the future of AI in product management is twofold. I mean, there are more and more AI tools that are designed specifically for product managers. Like I even saw in chat someone advertising a PRD AI generator. That's not an like endorsement. It's just the fact that it's there. That perhaps there'll be more tools that will help us streamline the work. So that's like the one thing that there'll be more tools. There will be more abilities for us to do simply more work in the limited time we have. But as in like in companies that are introducing AI features, I think that PMs should have this like voice of reason role, where you highlight the risk, you try to question whether the risky and expensive AI initiative should be taken, should be developed in the first place, and if so, be that watchdog that makes sure that no privacy, no copyrights are no privacy is hurt, and no copyrights are broken, so that it's just another feature that works, that helps users and brings value to the product, and doesn't come back to bite you in the ass later down the product life cycle.
Thank you, right, for your answer. Okay, this is actually a surprise question. Let's see how you will answer it. What is one wish you have for a product management platform like AirFocus to solve with AI? What would you imagine? Because I can tell you why I wanted to bring this question up, because in AirFocus, we also have AI. Our AI feature is called AI Assist, and you can use AI into AirFocus to analyze feedback, sentiment, simplify complicated technical jargon, or get brief summaries to save valuable time. And I think product managers find this quite valuable because it's like little jobs that they don't need to do, but they can just do it with AI. So it's actually like easing their daily works. But what would you think? What would
Let's start with that. I think that's one of the best use cases for PM to use AI, where large amount of text is being summarized, categorized, and giving you what you need. So rather than looking at 10,000 pieces of feedback, you just have the summary of what you need to be aware of, and decide whether based on that you can amend your backlog or roadmap or not, or at least have something to present on the presentation when you demonstrate that you are user-focused. But if you asked me for an AI wish for a product, I would love to just ask AI that I have this idea, and what would be the best discovery to verify it and like make sure that it's best as possible, or should this just be an experiment, and any discovery done on that idea is a waste of time, because the MVP will tell you all the answers you need, and rather than invest time in discovery and delay the outcome, just prioritize the build, see what happens, and build on top of it.
For that, I assume that you would need to give a lot of context to AI, right?
Well, if you have an AI sitting in your database, data repository of like, so that it should work, that it already has the context, as long as it's like the internal AI, so to say. So my wish is asking for a lot, isn't it?
Like we should ask the product managers maybe in the audience. Okay, then before we move on to the Q&A session, I would like to ask you, Bart, actually, what are the AI tools that you use daily? If there are any, maybe you can share it with our audience and maybe they can help them with their daily works as well.
They are free, and I think I already mentioned them. That's Copilot, that's in Skype, out of all places, which I use to help me with any research I'm doing or give me like some quick definitions of like something like that. That's uh, pretty helpful, and I use it both as Copilot and Skype, and I also have an open AI chat app on my phone to ask it voice questions, but that's more like private about like the more of like voice Googling that's more reliable than actual voice Googling. Another one is Midjourney, the image generator that I use a lot, and I create new images, recreate old ones. It's really the best one I saw and love using it. And the third one is an AI image upscaler that I use to make older images that I want to use for my posts look fresh and crisp. And some of the templates are flowing for like 10, 20 years and are looking terrible in comparison to modern 4K standards. So those upscalers really make a difference when you are publishing something.
Thank you. I hope some of these tools maybe help our audience as well. Okay, so now we move on to the Q&A session. We don't have many questions, I assume. Oh yeah, here's the question from Jorge. Can AI product manager tools improve stakeholder management? And
Probably.
can I say something before you answer with your insights? I just want to say that in Air Focus, you can do this. You can actually use this technical wording into like simplify it, and then you can actually communicate with the help of AI to your stakeholders. Now your answer, please.
I think I can only resonate with what you said, that you probably can improve your language or see if you can get that email shorter, slide more clear, or like use a simpler language. But at the same time, I would use it as a learning tool, so you eventually can be very good at communication without AI. Because I'm afraid that there might be a situation like, maybe you have the same nowadays, that whenever I'm in a new city and I drive, I learn the map around me, I learn the streets, and I'm able to travel better unless I use Google Maps. Then I'm not learning anything, and I have to use Google Maps to do the same route every day because my brain is just offloading the whole learning and remembering process to the map. And if this is a more common thing that happens to people, then I'm afraid that if you rely too much on AI to do your writing, that you won't get a better writer, you won't become a better communicator. You'll be just stuck and dependent on the machine, which, at least for product managers, is not the best thing. In my career, I've evolved as a writer significantly, especially since I became a content creator. And it was especially fun and visible when I came back to a company I left 2 years prior, and I got my old email account back. So I could see my last like goodbye email, and I said, I remember that it was written very good, and I was so proud of myself. Let's see what I wrote. And it felt like being an adult looking at your picture from preschool, literally. Like, oh my God, how was I ever proud from this email? It's so poorly written. I could have done such a better job right now. And I feel that every time I take some piece of writing that's like 2 or 3 months old, I have the same reaction. I mean, how could I write it like this? It could have been so much better. So we have a lot of external help to help us memorize stuff, to do more in our lives. And get your brain working still. Don't offload too much.
Thank you, Bart. Yoge, I hope this answers your question. Do we have another question, Nuran? Yes, from Kshama. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. What is the sweet spot for scale of data for which we should think between decision? I missed it. Let me find it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Nuran. Between decision model versus AI model. Sorry for this.
I'm afraid I can't answer that. I'm not that prevalent, and I don't want to pretend that I understand the question, and I can't answer it. Sorry.
Maybe we can get back to you with an answer after the webinar, Shama, but thank you for directing your question. And do we have any other questions? Doesn't seem like. Let me wait for a couple of seconds to see in the audience chat if there are any more questions for Bart before we close this session today. No, it doesn't seem like. So then I would like to thank you, our audience. Thank you, Bart, first for being with us today and sharing all your insights with our audience. And then obviously thank you, our audience, for being with us today and showing yourself that you're here and actually giving a space for us to get to know you even more. You can expect a follow-up email tomorrow with the recording of the webinar to share with your colleagues and some key takeaways from today's event. And some links included what we were mentioning during the event. And I will also drop a link for Bart's LinkedIn. I'm sure that you shared it previously, but make sure to follow Bart on LinkedIn. He shares great insights to level up your product management game. So thank you and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, and also have a great rest of your day.